Hi guys, and welcome to my series of tutorials on Elite Dangerous. What I want to show you how to do today is use the bulletin board inside of the space stations to build up some cash and some favor with the factions within the area. Now, there's not always going to be bulletin board missions available. They're not in every single space station. Some of the smaller ones don't have all the services, so you usually want to go to a slightly bigger station, and then they're going to have a lot more missions available anyways. The missions that are available can be broken down into a couple of different basic types: combat and cargo. Within the combat missions, you can have assassination, combat contracts, or seek and destroy missions. The assassination missions I would stay away from for a little while until you've gotten used to combat and you have a ship that's a little bit tougher. Most likely you're going to end up in a fight one-on-one against a big ship, even up to an anaconda. So it's not impossible, but you want to know what you're doing. And I'll actually show you how to do this a little bit later. For the combat contracts, what you're going to end up doing is basically becoming a mercenary in a big war zone. For low conflict zones, high conflict zones, you fly in the low conflict zones. They have some smaller ships. They're a little bit easier to take out, but they don't award you as big of a bond. In the high conflict zones, you have a little bit bigger ships that give you more reward, but of course it's more dangerous because you have bigger ships that can converge on you. For the seek and destroy missions, I tend to stay away from these, mostly because they're kind of a hassle. What they want you to do is go out and kill pirates, bounty hunters, cargo haulers, and they're kind of hard to find and nail down, and honestly most of the rest of the missions that you can do or other things that you can do to build up money in Elite Dangerous are a lot more profitable. For the cargo missions, we have cargo delivery, charity, and retrieval. For the cargo deliveries, it's really simple. They give you stuff that they want delivered, and you take it from that station over to another station. No problem. For the charity ones, what they want you to do is actually go out to another station somewhere and retrieve a certain item that they want. So if they want food, they want something else, you go and get it, you come back, and then you give it to them, and you don't actually get paid for it. But they do give you quite a bit of rep for the area, so it's not a bad way to go if you're trying to build up rep. The final one is retrieval. Now there's a couple of different types of retrieval. The first one is you're going to go out to whatever system that they send you to, and you go to the unidentified signal sources and just look for the loot that they want, basically. So usually it's a black box. The second type is a lot more of a pain. What they actually want you to do is basically become a pirate. You have to go into different areas, look for a specific kind of ship, and then you have to get them to drop their cargo and then steal that cargo. So they actually require you to have stolen cargo, and sometimes the stolen cargo also has to be illegal in that station. So it makes it really, really hard to get all this stuff together and do these missions. And honestly, I really don't want to waste your time. So, without any further ado, let me show you some examples of how to do some of these missions. Okay, so here's an example of one of the delivery missions, or one of the cargo delivery missions. In this particular case, there isn't actually any cargo to deliver, but it's the same idea. So what we're going to do here is accept this mission. It says, carrier signal decrypting. Message retrieved. Salutations, Commander. I'm looking for a discreet and fast data courier to make a delivery to news station. The information you'll be carrying is time sensitive, and I'll pay well for its safe and speedy delivery. So it says, deliver to Revolutionary Party of Kaleen at Dew Station in Kaleen. So we're going to go accept, exit. We're going to find Kaleen Station. Now, they've just improved this, so it's a lot easier to find. So you just type Kaleen in here. I'm going to do plot route, exit, and launch. So even though I actually have a little bit better spaceship than this one, because I've been playing for a while, I downgraded to the stock ship, the one that you get when you start the game, in order to give you guys more of an impression of what it's like. The only thing I did upgrade on it is the jump drive, because unfortunately they don't give you much distance for your jumps. So I'm going to take off from the ship here, from the space station, and I will edit it and show you guys when I get to the next station. Alright, so here I am at Dew Station, so all we need to do is approach the station, Once we get within 7,500 kilometers, we're going to request docking with the station.
Docking request granted.
And approach from the front here. Notice as we get a little bit closer, our ship becomes mast locked. And once we line it up with the front, we don't want to do too much side-to-side motion. We're going to go ahead and deploy our landing gear. What this does is help us actually slow down on the approach. Sometimes it takes a second though.
Landing gear deployed.
We're going to look for pad number 14. Just line the ship up and land on the pad.
Docking successful.
Go to Starboard Services. Go back to our bulletin board. And here we have deliver message. Carry BlackNet data to Kayla. Give message. We get 1,300 credits. We get raise the Allied influence, and we get an economic boom in the area. So this mission is one of the retrieval missions. So what it wants us to do is go out into space and get a hold of whatever they wanted us to get a hold of. In this particular case, caught in a moment. I represent a group of specialist collectors with a very rarefied and specific set of tastes, blah blah blah. What they want you to do is go out and get a black box from one of the unidentified signal sources. So we're going to want us to go to HDS 1065 and collect the black box. We're going to accept this. We're going to find HDS 1065. I think that's what they said. HDS 1065. Usually it's pretty close. You can sort of look around and see if maybe it's just sitting there. There it is. Okay, we're going to plot to that one and actually make this a little faster. Straight to it. Launch our ship. And same thing as before, I'm not going to make you guys sit through all my flying through to the next station. So I will edit this and I will show you once I get there. Here I am in HDS 1065. So what they want you to do is find an unidentified signal source, hop in there, grab the black box, and then bring it back to the station. The easiest way to do that, I've found, has been to just slow down to a crawl and wait for one of the unidentified signal sources to show up. So I've slowed down my ship, and I will show you guys as soon as I finally find one. Okay, as you can see, we're getting really close to one of the unidentified signal sources, so as soon as I get close enough, I'm going to jump into the space and go for the black box. Okay, so you can see that we found that black box. So now all we need to do is open up our cargo scoop and head towards it, putting it in the middle of the crosshairs. Once we get close enough, it will pick it up and put it into our cargo hold. Okay, very good. We close our cargo scoop. Set off for the station that we picked this up from in the first place. Now that we're back at Due Station, there's something we need to be aware of for this particular quest. If you notice, when we accepted it, it said that this one would be stolen cargo. So if we look at our cargo, it actually says that it's stolen. This means that if we get scanned on our way in, we'll receive a fine that we'll have to pay for, which will of course reduce the amount of money that we'll get. So, what we want to try to do is get in through that hatch before anyone can scan us. First part of that is identifying which side that we want to go to. So I just noticed up here is the little lump on the top of that station, which means that is not the correct side of the station to go to. So I'm going to approach the station. As soon as I get within 7.5 kilometers, get the request out so I don't have to worry about that.
Docking request granted.
to start heading in there as quickly as we can. Now, I'm actually at a really bad angle for trying to get through here before I get scanned. Let's see what we can do. Oh, and there it goes. So if this guy manages to finish his scan before I get inside, I will actually receive a fine. Oh, there it goes. 54.45 fine. So unfortunately, I'm going to lose a little bit of money on this one, but we'll see if we break even based on how much we're going to get for it. So we're right above our landing pad now. Let's put her down. Alright. So now we have to take care of a couple of things. The first one being that we have a fine. So in this case, I'm going to refuel. We're going to look at our contacts. Now with the local security office, we have a little bit of a fine. So we're going to say all fines combined. We're going to just pay for that. Then, we're going to go to our bulletin board. Caught in a moment. And it looks like we're going to get 12,020. So even though we got a fine for this one, we are actually going to come out over the top. Now we have a neutral influence boom. A lot of different booms actually here. And we increase the lockdown. Not that you guys really need to worry too much about all this stuff, but it kind of tells you what effect you're having on the area when you turn in these quests. So, on to the next one. Now, I'm going to show you a combat contract. And you see I've picked this one up here. Take out Warzone military personnel at the Warzone in LHS 1933. Now, I told you previously that there are low-intensity war zones and high-intensity war zones. You can see this mission doesn't actually specify which one because it doesn't really matter. You can go into either the high-intensity or the low-intensity war zone in order to complete this mission. Considering how much you're actually going to get from it, I'm going to try to go to a low-intensity war zone just because it'll be a little bit easier. So I'm going to accept this mission. Then, it wants me to go to LHS 1933. So we're going to set our navigation for LHS 1933. There it is. There we go. Lock that destination, and then we're going to launch. Now, as soon as I get just outside of the war zone, I'm going to pick the video up again and show you guys where it's at. Now that we're in the system, what we need to do is look for the conflict zone. You can see on the left pane that there's high intensity and low intensity zones. So we're going to pick the low intensity zone and start heading that way. Now I've just jumped into a low intensity conflict zone. And as you can see, there's a ton of ships all around us, but they're all yellow. That means is that no one's actually targeting us right now, but as soon as we pick a faction, they will. So what we're going to do, we're going to come over here to our functions pane, and we're going to see choose faction, and we have two different factions to choose from, Monarchy and LH 1933 Posse. Just because I kind of like the Posse, I'm going to stick with those guys. So now, as soon as I turn back, everybody is in the royalty is going to be red to me. So let's pick an easy target. This Viper shouldn't be too tough.
Target shields offline.
Okay, looks like he's just chapped us. So in that case, we
we just unlock them. Keep hitting them like normal.
Target shields offline.
I'm going to hit him with some more of my miniguns. And he's down.
Under attack.
Okay.
Target
Now we look for
destroyed.
another target. Oh, that asp. Shouldn't be too bad. Looks like he's engaged with someone else.
Under attack.
Now, some of you may be wondering why I don't use my multi-cannons on them when the shields are still in. That's because ballistic weapons don't actually do that much damage to them while their shields are up. They do more damage to their hull. Let's bring it back up on our sights. Eliminate those shields. So I'm going to want to ghost up the shield a little bit here. Looks like one of his buddies decided to join in.
Target shields offline. Under attack.
Okay, so now you can see all that flashing in my radar means that I've actually picked up quite a few more people. So I want to be careful. If I get too much heat, it'll be time for me to take off. Oh, we got a really nice lid up here. You can see it looks like we're taking quite a bit to take it down. So,
Under attack. Shields offline.
target is
Taking
power.
damage.
However, run for a little bit because it looks like somebody's got the hot spot.
Target shields online.
Now you can see it looks like I've only actually got one ally in the area and I've got 5 or 6 ships on me. So, just to make this a little easier on myself, I am not going to keep trying to fight this guy. I'm just going to boost out here and come back. Really easy to do.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Now you can see, as soon as I get back in here, everybody's yellow again. So, go back to functions. Choose our posse again. This time let's try to look for ships that are a little bit easier. An Eagle. That's probably about as easy as you can get.
Target shields offline. Target shields online. Target shields offline.
shields back up. I prefer that he didn't do that. And he's done.
Target destroyed.
So now you can see I got a 2,000 credit bond for that one, and my mission has picked up a couple of contacts. I've killed a couple of the ships that I need to take out. So that gives you guys an impression of what you need to do. I'm not going to make you wade through the whole thing, but that's the basic idea.
Now that I've returned to the station in the same system as the conflict zone, I can turn in the combat bonds that I picked up while I was out there. So all you need to do that is go to your Starport Services, go over here to Contacts, and Combat Bond Contacts. So you can see Cerno Independence, 42,000. Click on that, click Confirm, there we go. We just made 42,000 off of that one. I also need to reload, repair, refuel. I would also like to show you me turning in the quest, but unfortunately the video that I originally took from the quest that I picked up in the first place got deleted by accident. But it's pretty simple. All you would have had to do is come in here to the bulletin board, and then the quest would have been right here. You just click on that one, click accept, and you would have been paid for it. I got paid 18,000 for it. You saw I also picked up about 52,000 worth of combat bonds. So all in all, conflict zones are actually a really good way to go if you want to pick up some extra cash, and of course the missions aren't bad if you want to just pick up an extra little bit of money on top of that.
Alright, so I promised you guys I'd show you how to do an assassination mission, but I wanted to make sure that you know this is one of the toughest missions you can do. So I did put up a fully kitted ship. I have a Cobra, and I've upgraded it about as much as I can. The next thing we're going to do is we have the assassination mission right here. They want us to go after Elizabeth Saudi. So what we're going to do, we're going to accept this mission. Now there's two parts to this mission. First, you actually have to find out exactly where this person is. So we're going to look at the mission. It says Eliminate Saudi. We have known locations: Crow-4, Thin, and LHS 1933. So we go to any one of these three systems, and then we're going to hang around in some of the unidentified signal sources for a little bit until we run into some ships. So I'm going to cut to it when I find one of those, and I'll show you guys in a minute. We've now entered Crow-4. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our ship's drives down to 0 and basically just creep along in space until we get an unidentified signal source. It may take a few shots, but once we get into one of those unidentified signal sources, we're going to find ships that basically have a conversation. In this conversation, they're going to show us how do we get to the next area. Actually, we have an unidentified signal source right here. Hopefully, if we get the right one, they're going to tell us where to find this other ship that we want to take out. So here we actually see this is what we're looking for. You can see on the top left of the screen they're having a little conversation. Wait until they're done. Contract has been updated. So now, if we look back at our contract, you can see Eliminate Elizabeth Saudi has been updated. She's going to be found in GCRV 4654. So, let's go find 4654. There. Lock destination. Then we're going to head to that system. We're going to do the same thing we were just doing. Basically, get inside the system and shut your engines down to 0. Well, the reason that you do this is that it actually makes it really easy to get into the unidentified signal sources, because once they pop up, you can immediately go to them instead of having to fly and then get within 10 meters or whatever they want you to do. So here we are in GCRV 4654, so we're going to shut our engines down and wait until we find the right unidentified signal source. Alright, here it is. Here's Elizabeth Saudi. So you can already see this isn't an anaconda, so this is going to be a bit of a tough fight. The first thing I want to do is go find her power plant and target that. Get my shields up, because she is going to be mean. So this is going to be a really tough fight, so we want to do a lot of hit and run tactics until we can get her down. Get her shield down first.
Under attack.
And try to stay kind of close to her. If she starts lighting us up too much, then we'll just run. Don't want is her to be able to face us nose on, because then she'll just tear us up. And we are in a faster, more agile ship, so what we can try to do is just stay on our side here. Now my shields are offline, so I want to make a run for it while I charge. You see we're about 6 kilometers away from her, so she can't really do much to us at this distance. We have not, however, damaged... Oh man, there's her missiles. We're not going to worry too much about the missiles from this distance.
Shields online.
Alright, our shields are back online, so let's let them charge all the way back up. Let's get on the other side of her here, because she can't really turn around super fast. Boost away again. I want my shields all the way charged before I come back in for another hit. Still whittling down her shields.
Target shield is offline.
Now her shields are finally offline. Now what we're trying to do is take out her power plant. So we we want to really light into it with these guns. See our power plant's going down in percentage points right now. Okay, shields offline. We can't take too much of that abuse, so we gotta be careful.
Canopy compromised.
Alright, looks like I'm about to lose my canopy. That's alright.
Canopy critical.
Just stay right here on her. We got a really good spot. And we nailed it. We're out of here.
Target destroyed.
44,000 for the destruction, and my canopy actually survived. So, in case that wasn't enough indication for you, those are tough fights. Until you've gotten some experience behind you and you have enough money to sink into a really good ship, I don't recommend it. However, they can be very lucrative. As you can see here, that one was 44,000 just on the bounty. And then we're talking about on the transaction, we're actually going to get, well, it doesn't tell us here, but I seem to remember it was somewhere in the neighborhood about 150,000. So, those are really great. And I'll fly this back and I'll show you guys what we actually get once we get there. Alright, so we made it back to the starport in mostly one piece. So what I want to show you guys is what it actually cost me and then what I gained from doing that. So the first thing is we got to refuel. Of course, I'm not going to worry about that. Our repair bill was about $42.11. Reloading all of the stuff that we used, including the ammo and the shield cells and chaffs, was about $56.80. Apparently doesn't want to reload all of that in one shot. Okay. All of our repairs are done. So we're going to do two things that we can turn in. First off, we can go to the local security office, so we get $67.82. Now, I did actually pick up a couple of other bounties while I was in between parts of this video, but they weren't very significant, so this is pretty much all from that Anaconda. I'm going to get those. Then, we're going to go to our bulletin board. So 162,625. So it costs us all told about 10,000, 15,000-ish to repair everything and reload, and we gain this much from doing it. So it can be very useful. You do get a lot of money from it, but be prepared to actually really have a hard time fighting these ships. Of course, that's probably what some of you guys want. On to the next one. Alright guys, well, that's all the different types of missions that I wanted to show you. The only two that I told you about, and I didn't show you an example of, were the Seek and Destroy missions and the Charity missions. Now, the reason that I didn't show these two was the Seek and Destroy missions are, like I said, they're just a huge pain in the butt. You have to go find the specific kind of ship, you have to identify what type of ship it is, and it seems like it's always a waste of time, and I never really wanted to do it. The Charity missions, I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out. All you need to do is get whatever they ask you for and then bring it back to that system. So, with that said, if you liked my video, please like, comment, subscribe, and keep an eye out for the rest of my tutorials. Bye-bye.